Gamers, welcome back to Cryptic Gaming. I hope you've been having a wonderful week. So we're playing some Skull and Bones. For all of you new players, you're just returning to the game players from last year, you probably noticed some big changes here. So there are a few things you need to be aware of. There are going to be certain missions and certain aspects of this game that are locked behind rank, and I'm going to teach you how to rank up very fast and also complete those Smuggler's Pass. Now you have 11 days left on this pass before the new one starts, and you are able to get those large ships. But you're going to want to get this schooner first, so I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to explain the Smuggler Pass here to you. When you spend 45 Smuggler tokens that are earned through XP or SP, which is experience points for those who are familiar with gaming, you're going to be able to get that blueprint for free in the pass. You do not have to spend money on the pass. You can actually just grind this thing out. You're not going to get the cosmetics and special types of stuff, but you'll get the weapons and the armor and all of the actual things that you need in the game for free. Okay, you don't have to go and spend money on that, just so you're aware. Now, if you look at the top right hand corner, it's the smuggler points. For every 1,000 SP we earn, we're going to get a smuggler token that we can spend. And once you spend 45, you may be going, okay, well, that's going to require a lot. To teach you how to do this real quick. Now, there's a couple ways you can do this. Now, if you're just joining in the game, you're going to want to get some XP up. So, Scarlock is up on the stairs. If you go straight in that building and go up to the right, and he has repeatable missions. Then, of course, you have the blacksmith over here who has repeatable missions. And that is true of every location. They have missions that you can run over and over and over and over. They pay 50 infamy points, which is also experience points, which also stand for SP or smuggler points. And for every 1,000 points you earn, you're going to get a token, and once you complete the pass, you get a chest with items in it. So it is definitely worth grinding those out. The quickest way to get this stuff, guys, if you're new to the game, I'm going to go over two things here. So first off, you're going to want to take out the towers. Okay, towers, guard tower. For every guard tower that you take out, you get 100 points. So for every 10 guard towers that you take out, if you come up here and you take out these towers here, by the time you reach this tower, you have a smuggler point. You also have 1,000 XP, and you've probably ranked up at this point. So then you're going to come down, you're going to take these out, you're going to get this one here, you're going to get that one there. And by the time you complete this run, you should have 2, almost 3 smuggler points. If you're destroying ships as you go, you probably have 3 going on your way to 4. Okay? Now, if you're not new to the game, but you've gotten ranked up, you've got some stuff, you've been traveling with the Banished Souls community, guys, something to understand, you're going to want to get through the pass. If you haven't already, you probably already have, but maybe you want some ideas of what to do in your own free spare time or whatever, you can go in. This is for you advanced guys. You can go in here and you can pick up a roving contract, which is where you're going to deliver pieces of you're going to deliver your gold skull products or your white skull products. It'll be a roving order, not a standard order. And you're going to travel out, and what you will do, just hold on to those orders before you go and deliver it. And you're going to come out here and you're just going to play around here and you're going to sink those Helm ships. Or maybe you travel all the way out here and you sink the Helm Liaison to get your pieces of 8, and you have a mark for death. Everywhere you go, you're going to run across Helm ships at that point for the next 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how many Helm Liaisons you destroyed. And you're going to get 150 points per ship while you go around here destroying these towers. Now, obviously, the quickest way to get XP is to farm Mega Fort Houston, but if you're a new player, you can't farm Mega Fort Houston at the moment. Maybe you can join in if you see people ask for help on some of these things. But these towers is your bread and butter right now. Any guard tower, including over here in Africa. Now, when you're in Africa, something to be aware of, you are going to be running into sandbuck ships. These are fire ships. They're the ones with the big red keg on the back. Aim for the keg. If you're new to the game and you're having some problems sinking ships or being sunk, I want to show you something out here real quick. And then I want to explain a few things that you need to be working on for you new players. Now, I do recommend right now that you're saving all of your items. Do not go start ascending a bunch of weapons at the moment. Don't go and start spending a bunch of pieces of 8 and things like that just yet. There's a few things you want to spend on, and there's a few things you don't want to spend on. So now this tower here, I'm going to try not to actually take it out. We're going to shoot the island next to it and see if I can actually make this thing mad. Let's take out the ship. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in here. This is with your right joystick. You just press it straight in if you're on console. So any of these little red spots are considered a weak point. When you hit a weak point, that does the most damage, and it triggers any special effect that your weapon has. Okay? It's going to increase that. When they fire, brace, let off. Do not cook your brace, just sit there and hold it, because you're burning through stamina at this point, and you're wasting your stuff. And when they finally go to fire, you no longer have stamina, and you take your direct hits. So, bump, brace, that is the trick you're going to want to do. You're going to want to bump brace. Okay, so I hope that ruled that down for you. Let's get back here to shore so I can show you a few little tips and tricks. Like I said, there's no quick way to do this, but I'm going to try to explain this to you as fast as possible, guys. For those who are wondering, how do you get pieces of 8? How do you get silver real quick? I'm going to show you a few things. Now, if you're new to the game and you're not a kingpin, then obviously some of it's not going to make much sense to you at the moment, but I'm going to show you from the beginning as a new player. So if you were at a new player but you've just reached kingpin, bear with me just a second, guys, because I want to try and cover as much as I can in this video in a shorter window as possible. I've been working on this video all night, and every time I end up making it, it ends up taking an hour and a half. Nobody's going to watch that long of a video. So what you're going to want to do here is, when you're taking those out, you're going to be taking and sinking ships and taking all the silver. Once you get enough silver up, you want to come in here to your codex. I don't know how much it's going to cost. Like I say, this was last year I bought this thing. But you come up to the codex. It's under the knowledge tab. You see where we tabbed over from the map menu. We tabbed over to this. We go into the codex. Come over here to top deck weapons. You're going to want to get the Bombard 5. All the way over, track that blueprint, go buy it. It seems like, if I'm not mistaken, and I could be mistaken, so like I say, track the blueprint. I can't track it because I already own it, but it seems as though it was over here at Poacher's Cache, or it may have been over here at Navigator's Cross. And you'll have to see how much silver that's going to cost. In the meantime, be destroying those forts. So once you open up that Bombard 5, you can just start putting that on your ships. It has an explosive perk. So as a new player, here's what I want you to do. You can use the Badar. Let's go to these ships here. You can use the Badar, which is going to give you a lot of great ramming perks. This ship is an absolute beast when you upgrade it later. And you can put them bombards on it, but they're not going to give you much specialties other than that. You're going to be using that. Maybe you're like, well, I really don't want to be ramming, so that's fine. You don't have to. Get the schooner. All right, this is the sloop. My bad. It's the miniature schooner. It's called a sloop. So what this does is this specializes explosive weaponry. Those Bombard 5s, they have explosive weaponry. This builds upon that. It gives you an extra 50% chance of triggering an explosion, which deals 1,500 damage within a blast radius of 150 meters. Plus, it increases damage to structures by 40% and adds another 15% of explosive damage when you're shooting at ships. So this is going to work with a perk on that weapon. So definitely make sure you pick that up. Get those Bombard 5s. Once you get that, all right, you can then come over to the Grand Fillets area. You can come over here to this area here as well, and you're going to want to start hitting like Fort de Lis. You're going to want to start hitting Fond de la Royale. You're going to want to take out the Garande. You want to take out Seafood Lumberyard. And when you're running these plunders, if you're wondering, well, how do I go to a plunder? You travel to the location. When you pull up alongside the port, it will have, if you're on Xbox, hold Y to plunder. If you're on PlayStation, hold triangle to plunder. If you're on PC, just look, see what button it tells you to hold. I'm not on PC, so I don't know what button you're going to hold. But you're going to plunder those areas. That's going to give you your XP that way. That's going to make it so that you can open up this pass. It's quickly as possible. You want to get that schooner before it leaves here in 11 days. You can run this pass using the tower trick I just showed you. You can run it if you have time to run it. Now, you're not going to come in and do it in an hour, but if you have a good day, a weekend to come in and run it, you can run it over a weekend. What I do recommend is joining Banished Souls gaming community. That is the Discord that I run with. I know there's a lot of groups out there claiming they have the best. In my opinion, this is the best community, because whether you're a new player, you're an advanced player, you can always find somebody in voice chat, almost always. Maybe not late at night talking 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes I'll be on, as you can see, blah, 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 talking like crazy, and I'll be in chat waiting to shoot the breeze with somebody. I play at night. It's too hot during the day to make videos, to have fans blowing and all that kind of stuff. Not that any of that mattered. So, but I do recommend that. I'm going to put that link down there in the comments for you guys, so make sure you join up. And the quickest way to join up with people is to join into voice chat, but adding folks and then just joining them. Voice chat makes it so that we can actually coordinate, but you can coordinate other ways. If you join up with me, like I say, if you want to add me on your friends list, all you got to do is hit the non-pause button. Let me get that off here. You come in here and you go to this menu and you go to Xbox Connect, type in Cryptic Gaming just as it is on my YouTube channel, and you might see Cryptic Gaming 723. That'll be my gamer name here with the actual, like Xbox stuff like that, whatever. But add me on here. I'll get that friend request, and then you can join me in game. Now, if I'm not in voice chat, typically what I do, if I'm just out on a farming raid, I very rarely will pull off to run a mission unless you mark it on the map, meaning that you have a mission you need to run. You're going to come over to wherever it's at. Say if you have something at Fort and About, then you would press your R3, which is the right joystick, straight in for those of you on console. You would mark that. That way I know that you need to do it. But understand, typically what I'm doing if I'm not in voice chat is I am doing my own personal farming. I do not sacrifice my own gameplay too much for stuff. I'm just a selfish person that way. But I will help out with certain things. Sometimes I'll run events for new players and then no one shows up. So typically if you want to rank up, I can get you ranked real quick, and the way to do that is to go on a farming raid with me, which means you've joined into the game, and maybe you're able to follow me, because what I will do is I will actually leave the group if you join in. Understand, the reason I do that is not to throw you off so you can't follow me. What I'm doing is I leave the group so more people can join in, because people are constantly joining in. We have hundreds of people inside the Discord group that join in and they farm randomly or whatever. So if you join up, if I'm traveling around, I haven't left. If the group fills up to 3, stay joined up to the guy, add him as a friend. I want bounce out so more people can join, and that's how you take over servers. And we do a lot of server raids throughout the week, and especially weekends. So definitely join up with that Banished Souls group, guys. Now, we don't take any negative crap. We don't that kind of stuff. We're all adults. When I say adults, most of us are generation Gen X. Not all, but most. And we don't get into drama and all that kind of crap. So if you're causing drama, then you're going to be dealing with the leadership over there. So something to keep in mind. Now, one of the things I do recommend for you new gamers is running this used to be a bounty board mission. It may be for you, it's not for me. But Fang Zafara level 4 and Hunter Hunted level 5, I still run these today. It's a great way to grind out pieces of 8. And it's a great way to get infamy, and it's a great way to pick up boxes, and occasionally, not always, I pick up something pretty decent from this stuff. So, but it really grinds out a lot of 8. So those are some great things. You might end up getting some weaponry and stuff like that, but once you get those weapons, then you're going to come over here and you're going to grind the Grand Fillets, and you're going to be looking for DMC ships. Now, a lot of the DMC ships that travel along this area, they're going to have the paintings and stuff in your ships that you can then take over here to Cawman Grove, which is right here, and you're going to be able to sell that for high money. You're going to be able to sell it for a lot of silver, just so you're aware. Plus, they're going to have a lot of fine rainy and things like that. Those are things you're going to need to build medium ships later. So great way to do that. They're usually level 7, 8 ships. Sometimes you'll run into a 10, but you can grind those out easy enough with those Bombard 5s that I showed you. Now, that's going to get you to silver for the next step, and maybe you've reached this next step and you are now a Kingpin. If you follow that stuff and you farm with us just one time, guys, if you follow me for a few hours during the day, you're going to hit Kingpin pretty quick with the missions that I'm throwing at you. Get a few shots in, stay out of danger's way, but get as many shots in as you can, and you're going to be grinding up pretty quick. Now, Smuggler's Hideout, this is where you're going to meet Yanita Nara. You got to run the main mission line. You're going to hit Kingpin ship. They're going to have you talk to, it seemed like it was Rima up here. She sends you down to talk to Yanita. But there's actually over at the mailbox, which is over at the warehouse, you can pick up a letter there. You got to come down here. Used to, she gave you a lease for Fort de Lis. Now, I don't know if that's true, if that still happens that way, or if you just farm it, I don't know. If you would comment in when you get there so I know what's going on, so I can tell people more proactively what it is. Now, I'm glad this just popped up. Now, you have what is called a hostile takeover. This is a PvP hostile, meaning if you join that, other people can join it, and you have to fight them for that hostile takeover. This is what is called a solo hostile takeover. If you join that, no one else can join. It shuts it down. No one else can join, and you can run that mission. And when you complete it, you get to take that factory. When you first reach Kingpin, you can only hold 8 factories. And I highly recommend, if you are able to choose what factory you want, pick these 4 first. The reason I say that, this is a auto collect area, meaning you do not have to come out here and collect this crap in your ship. You don't have to assign ships. You don't have to build a fleet to go pick them up. You can just come up and auto collect. This outside St. Anne is going to give you 4. You can carry 8 factories to begin with, so I recommend you do this. And then I recommend that you either do these 4 or this 3. Up to you. You can do this 3 and then pick one up here. Then you're going to be tapped out on factories. These are both auto collect areas here. So you're going to have to go over here to upgrades. The first upgrade I want you to do is Empire Management under Helm Empire. This allows you to carry 8 factories, 8 more. That is going to make it so that you can now pick up the other 3. You can now pick up these 5 here, so that gives you 8. Now you're tapped out. It's going to be a little bit before you can come over here and collect this auto collect area here, okay? So you're going to want to focus in on the Red Isle at St. Anne. You're going to own these territories, and you're going to be going, okay, I want to get these factories raised up a level. You start off at level 1, some of them start off at level 2. You can bring those to level 2s once you get coercive growth, just by running a hostile takeover again. You already own it, you're running hostile takeover again. It upgrades the factory for free, plus it gives you 450 to 900 pieces of 8, plus you get some chests that might end up giving you a lease as well. This is going to give you the ability to do that. Now, you go, okay, so I have my coercive growth perk. What do I do next? Well, something else you're now going to do, there are going to be, you have, look, my bad guys. You have the Sea People factories. You have the Confederation of Iguana factories, and you have this Campania Royale factory. So you need to come into the upgrade, and you want to follow this tree here. So Sea People is where I started. You can start wherever you want. This allows you to take your factories to 3, manufacturing expansion. This is going to let you take it up 1 level. Then you're going to come over, you're going to have to do the improved equipment. Okay? This is going to give you some production cost reductions and stuff. Then you need to do this other manufacturing expansion right here. This lets you get it to 4s. Stop right there. Don't bother going any further at the moment on this tree. Then you need to get the Iguana, which is Confederation of Ghana. Going to come over, same thing here. This and here's going to let you take it to 3s. Go hit here. This is going to let you take it to 4s. All right. I'm assuming you're still with me here. And then, of course, the Campania Royale. You're going to come again, manufacture expansion. Come up here, hit this one again. Now you can carry level 4s. Okay, so you're going, okay, so this is great. Now what do I do? Well, if you want to continue and it starts to get expensive here to capture forts, you're going to come over here and you're going to buy these 2 Empire administration slots here, which gives you more territories, 8 more for each one of these. But what I recommend doing is that you then break off of this for a little bit, come up to the Helm. You now have pieces of 8 coming in. You now have level 4 warehouses that you can, it's going to take a little bit to get those to 4s. You're going to want to come in and upgrade this as much as possible. If you come farming with me, you're going to have pieces of 8. You will probably have more pieces of 8 than you know what to do with to begin with, as long as you follow this thing. You're going to upgrade the Helm here. This is going to open up your ability to, we'll go ahead and fast travel. You can enter it to that big keg. Holding your top right button once you hit Kingpin brings you this. You're going to be doing distillery. Now, what this does is it creates white skull products, which is the very first stage. It costs silver to build this. Okay, so we go to silver or gold skull, and I'll show you how to do that here in a minute. So it's going to take silver to do that. You go, okay, well, how do I get silver to be able to do that? Well, that's what all that farming I was telling you about, blowing the ships up and all that, going and getting the paintings and all that. If you're only buy the Bombard 5s and long gun 5s and don't spend money on anything else right now, I recommend the Bombard 5s because they have that explosive perk. Throw it on that sloop. You're going to have a great ship to get through the first beginning of this stuff until you get your schooner. Once you get the schooner, then switch over to the schooner. And again, use those Bombard 5s, those schooners, what I use on my schooner, and you'll be able to start to roll those up. You go farm with me, you go farm with the guys at Vanished Souls, following us around, and we're going to be able to get you those pieces of 8 by joining into the things that we're doing. The supply network opens up. This is where you can actually come up, pick up roving deals. You can pick up poppy, you can pick up the tobacco, you can pick up this sugar cane, and so on and so forth. You're going to be able to then go into attacks as well. You can run fort plunders, you can do rogue hunts, you can hunt down rogues, which are going to give you worm's breath. You're going to be able to come in and get eels twine from those types of hunts. You can get gannet, saltpeter, orca mechanisms based off the rogue hunt that you're doing. If you look at the right hand corner in that red, it tells you what that fleet is: orca mechanism, gannet, saltpeter. You're going to have eels twine coming off the eels fleet, so on and so forth, and you can pick up these types of materials there, guys. Don't buy anything. Pick up roving missions. Do not do these here where you got to buy it. Just do the roving missions and then go sink the Helm liaisons. You get what is called a mark for death. Now, I like the mark for death because I get free materials from that while I'm traveling around. I got Helm ships fighting against me the whole time. If that is getting on your nerves and it's something that you don't want to do, when you open up that tree, you're going to get these rogue hunts. For every rogue hunt you complete, it reduces your mark for death for 30 minutes. For every Helm liaison you have destroyed, you have a 30-minute mark for death. So if you've done one, you've destroyed one, hey, pick a fleet, go destroy it. Like I said, I run it in sections, and I'll run all this stuff out, and then I'll go and try to get another mark for death on me. That's just typically the way I do. I typically run these before I get a mark for death, because like I said, I like to keep the mark. But that's just me. That's how I like to roll with it. Then, of course, you can come over here to your registry, and every hour you can run what is known as a roving order. Now, as you can see, that is down there by Grand Falaise. Now, when you pick up these roving orders, you cannot fast travel. Unlike when you pick up the one up by Il Michel, you can just fast travel over the destroyed liaison. You cannot fast travel here. When you pick up these contracts, keep your contracts, and you can now do something to complete your pass really fast, which is just hang around here and just blow up Helm liaisons, and you're going to farm up materials and stuff like that. And when you finally get tired of farming materials, you can then come across this area here, and you're going to come over here across Southern Basin. This is where it's going to pop up, and you're going to sink that Helm liaison, and you're going to come over here. It's going to pay you pieces of 8. Do not bother selling him your products. The only reason you're making these skull products right now is because you're going to take those and you're going to sell them to Skurlock. When it comes to the liquor, your rum and your gin that you make here, sell it to Skurlock. When you get that to the top tier, now you're going, okay, so what's the difference between top tier skull products? your white and your gold. So white he's going to buy for 125, gold he's going to buy for 250. And here is how you get your gold skull rum. Going to upgrades again. Now, if you followed my path earlier and you're coming across this upper tier, your next expansion should be Empire Administration, which allows you to carry 3 more. So you don't have to come do this right now, because like I said, this one here is going to be kind of expensive. Empire Administration 8. Just come over here, hit this one, and then you go come up here, and man, you can now make gold skull products. Pretty cool, huh? Same thing, if you've been following this tier here, you can get that. It's going to give you 3 more manufacturers. And hey, guess what? You can now make gold skull gin. The other one was gold skull rum. And then, of course, you have your other Confederates over here, which is where you can take this DMC, by the way, that I'm on now, following that lower tier. This will be the last one that you end up doing, which will make it so that you can do silver stuff production. And then, of course, you have Confederation of Iguana, which is not going to have one on it. As you can see, there's nothing on there. So like, oh, well, where's the other one? Well, that's where the Dominion of Rimp is going to come in. Like I say, this is a indies deal. So this is going to be later in the game when you start taking those indies. You're going to be coming down, like I say again, same thing once you get where you start doing indies factories, and you would take and you would do manufacture expansion, improved equipment, manufacture expansion, Empire Administration, and then you'll do Black Lotus Opium over here and Silver Snuff. That's going to make so you can make those final tiers to sell. The snuff and the opium you sell to Rema at Talak Panjar for 250 silver a piece. You may not think that's going to add up. It adds up very fast. If you look at my silver, 138,711,698 silver. Now, I currently have in my possession enough to grind out another 100 million if I wanted to go and sell that material. I run this every single day. Every day I get on, when I first come in, I run up my missions where I go to Il Michel, and I sync those 3 liaisons. That gives me materials. Okay? And then I will come over and I will then pick up and I would run a roving mission. The reason I do that first is I like to mark for death. I will then come up and I will pick up a roving mission, and I will have the rovers after me, plus I will have a mark for death, which is typically giving me 4 to 6 ships spawning at a time, and each of those drop out materials. So each fleet that I destroy, I'm getting about 60 materials, give or take, of different types. And I will come out here and I will blow up these Helm liaisons, which then gives me another mark for death. I then come back, I'll fast travel from here, and I'll fast travel over here, or typically up here, which is where I will pick up my forts. And when I say I'm running forts, this is what I'm talking about. I will come in here and I will go to my attacks and I will start running fort plunders. And I pick up all of them. So Granby, Haramau. Now I don't bother making the raw Imperial Jade into a refined. I just don't. It's not something I even bother with. But you can if you want to. And then of course your some of these at times you will be able to get where like Picasso, there's Houston, and sometimes they will have 2 or 3 at one location, and you can just farm it and complete all your contracts at once. Now you can do that with teams, or you can do that solo if you're, like I say, using a Bombard 5 and you build that thing out the way that I show you. By then you're able to start spinning some 8s. You've got some Ascension parts and stuff. You can pick those up in Tier 1. You don't have to be in Tier 2. You might not get the final Ascension on there, but you can do a lot of really good stuff with that. Again, you're going to be taking out those forts with that stuff and getting those materials. You're going to be farming with fleets. You're going to be, if you're following me, I'll kick it on every time I start a plunder. That way if people are wanting to run contracts, you can join up. Go pick your contracts up. If you're new, join up anyway. You're going to get XP. It's going to rank you up. It's going to complete your pass really quick. So those are some great things to do. And that's not just me, guys. That's anybody within the Discord community. If you come in and say, hey, I'm looking to farm people, who's on? Look inside the voice chat, join up with those guys, and you're going to have a lot of fun. So, again, check down in those comments for that invite link. Last but not least, here at Blackwood, anything from Season 1, 2, 3, and 4 of Year 1, You're going to be able to come in here. Now, it is not all available at one time. He has time-limited events. This is current seasonal events, or furnitures you can buy, armors and things like that. Then there are time-limited. These are things from season 1, 2, 3, or 4 of year 1. All right? Year 1 and stuff. So you're going to be able to pick up different types of weapons. You're going to be able to, I don't recommend the twin ballista. I don't recommend, I mean, Foul Isle's okay. It's not the greatest demi cannon in the world. This is a great armor if you're using certain types of ships and stuff, but this just basically gets rid of negative status effects. I don't really bother using it. That's more for like a PvP thing. You can use it if you want to. I don't really see a point in using it, but I do recommend getting Secret Cache. Just going to help with your acceleration and your turning speed on your ship, so it's going to make you more maneuverable. So I do recommend that one. Then of course the furnitures from this season here, they're really great. If you're going to spend your Kufra bars on anything, I would spend it on that. But right now, like I said, we have about 10 days left in the pass now. What you don't want to do is go spending all your pieces 8 and Kufra bars. You want to save that for season 2. You got 11 days. Go ahead and save it up, guys. Save that stuff up and get your basic bombards done and stuff. If you're farming with us and you just got the 8s to spend on it, you can. But I would recommend working on part of the Helm. But what I really recommend is not going and spending a bunch of stuff on what's left of this season. When you're looking at your pieces of 8 and things, you see I'm trying to get to the 200 mark before the end of the season. 200,000 is what I'm looking for in pieces of 8, and then of course the Kufra bars I'm trying to get up, 15,000-20,000 of those if I can. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want to be able to get what comes out in the next season here in about 10 days, and I want to be ahead to be able to have enough to level up my large ship, be able to level out any new weapons they got, things like that. So right now you need to be saving, but those sloops with that Bombard 5, that's going to be the magic thing for you right now as a new player. And bump bracing and hitting weak points. Practice, practice, practice. Once you get that down, you're going to be able to take anything out in this game, and you can then upgrade those weapons as you progress through your pass and you start to grow your kingdom. You're going to be able to do some really great stuff with the loadouts I told you about. So I hope y'all have enjoyed the video. I'm going to end it right here. Y'all have a wonderful evening. If you got questions, make sure that you question down below and join up in the Discord. Post your questions up. There are plenty of folks there willing to help, and if we don't get straight to the question, understand a lot of guys are sleeping this time of night. Maybe they're headed to work, but there are folks there from all time zones all over the world. Y'all have a wonderful day.